So again, we continue from here. We did 1, 2, 3, 4. So after action was implemented, we go to step number 5, which is to review effectiveness. So this is one of the final steps, that is the most important steps. What you need to do is to appoint one verifier. Her job is to verify the effectiveness of the actions. So this person will have enough independence to objectively review the actions, so that whatever decisions he make is going to be independence, not because she know you or the whole department. Number 2, she doesn't have to be an expert in that particular area, but she should be technically competent. Basic understanding of the whole issues underlying the actions. Okay, so you don't have to find truly an expert in the field. So she will find 3 types of evidence. Number 1, evidence that the action relates to the identified root cause, so it is relevant to the problem being addressed. B, evidence that the proposed action was actually implemented. And C, evidence that the action was effective in preventing recurrence of the problems. Well, C going to be a little bit of time consuming, but it is the most important to verify. So it will take some time, so you have to be patient. Alright, so after step number 5, the corrective action is now in place. This particular verifier, maybe she verified and found to be effective. Evidence of improvement is there, i.e. you have done good job, well done. So next, what you need to do is to make these actions or improvement permanent. Before that, you can recall section 6.1. we were talking about risks, opportunities and actions to address. You should recall that when you alter the risk, something else will happen, will change or get altered as well, because these are dynamic. So the risk should now decrease because you have done the improvement job. So if you think about it, the corrective action system is actually a risk reduction strategy. That's why it is a good way to solve problems in industry. Alright, if you can recall again in step 3, I want you to determine if similar non-conformity exists in other departments or in other parts of the company. So by knowing so, you can solve the problems for the whole organization, i.e. you lower the overall risk of the whole organization. So you don't just solve your problem, you solve the problems for the whole organization. Alright, so again, I want you to recall to section 6.1. We want now to revisit the risk planning. You can remember we use the term RPN, which stands for a risk priority number. We get this number by multiplying severity rating with likelihood of risk happening. So say we decided that the RPN numbers of 10 equal to significant, i.e. the risk is really significant, and therefore wanting you to take a very, very serious action. Okay, now that you already taking action from this exercise of CA system, whatever action being taken surely must have reduced the risk. So we expect the severity rating should drops, and therefore the RPN should be lower as well. Okay. Sometimes you discover perhaps a new risk after this addressing this new CA corrective action. Then you discover a new risk, or the NC itself reveal a new risk. Therefore, you now have to go back to your risk planning and update the portfolio risks. Okay. Number 7 is about making changes to the QMS. This is the primary way to sustain improvement made by the corrective actions. Well, people will forget. They have tendency to go back to the old ways. So you must always do changes. Some of the example given here, maybe the old SOP was not very clear, and therefore this contribute to the non-conformity. Therefore, you have to revise the SOP, make it clear. Maybe the old document style was too complex. Therefore, some people was not able to understand it. Therefore, the new project you have to do now is to develop new documentations in the QMS. Maybe the record keeping was messy, so you have to establish new record keeping. Maybe something not right with the old method, you have to establish new monitoring and measurement. Maybe the training was ineffective, you have to revise the materials. Maybe a lot of people were lost, they were not aware of the policy, the objective, so you have to improve your communication now. Maybe you have issues with competency, you have to revise roles, responsibilities and authorities, hire new guys. Maybe your particular products are now suffering from dated issues. There's a lot of new development in the areas, so around now you have to enhance organizational knowledge. Maybe the costs of raw materials from a supplier have gone up, so now you have to revise purchasing contract. So all of these are examples of possible changes needed that related to the non-conformity just now. So step number 8 is a reminder for you to prioritize. So whatever corrective action that you decided to take, make sure they are appropriate to the effects of the non-conformity. Otherwise, the whole step 1 to step 7 will be a waste of time and waste of resources. So like if you want to tackle a big problems, make sure you really tackle it with big solutions. If little problems, little solutions. If the non-conformity is small or negligible, maybe you don't have to do any fixes, because the resources can be directed somewhere else that need the resources the most. In here, you have to use your common sense. You attack and commit to the problems that have most bearing on your success, and follow through to completion. It is about commitment. So there may be many corrective actions. Sometimes not all of them will bear on your success. So you know your product better, you know your process better. It's up to you. Finally, we come to the last step, which is about retaining documented information. So maybe you do this exercise of corrective action every 3 months, maybe every 6 months. If we do not keep it documented, we miss a lot of opportunity to learn, because the CA is your organization history. So keeping a record is a must. Alright, so the records of the nature of NC, or the problem statement, and the requirements or standard that it violates. So we have to learn a lot from here. Why we violate a particular standard? What's wrong with us? and B, records of action taken to remove or reduce the causes of the NC. It can be a simple description of 1A4, or it could be a thesis of 200 pages. Depends on your how serious is the issues or the problems. And finally, records of the results of the corrective actions. Is there any evidence indicating that causes have been removed or reduced? If you reduce it by how many percent? If, however, the corrective action fails, you must also record this. Something is wrong with our problem solving. We are not competent enough. But you have to resend it back for rework. Go back to step 1. Yeah, sorry, you have to redo. Okay, this is an example of your 3-in-1 coffee. You've maybe 100 kilograms of various batches of your 3-in-1 coffee packages were returned by customers, and they have several complaints, but most of the complaints is written as hardened packages. That means there is moisture ingress in this coffee, no longer fit for consumption. So your boss assigned you to solve these problems. So how will you start? Definitely you will go to step 1, which is to come up with a problem statement, and from there you go to step 2, step 3 until step 9. So in industry we receive a lot of problems. Every day we have problems. So a problem, however, creates opportunity for improvement, and that is part of the quality assurance. Okay guys, so happy learning.